What's up, guys? Name's Ron, and today I want to share a little bit with you about an internship that I had over the summer. It was with a nonprofit organization known as the Borgen Project. That's Borgen, and basically what we focus on is addressing global poverty. We are also fighting to end global poverty as well. And so what my part of that was as an intern for them was basically, helping people understand exactly what global poverty is about. And the reason why we say global poverty instead of just regular poverty is because the U.S. Actually, as a superpower country, or a country with a lot of high standing as we know it, has the capability and the financial means to invest the federal budget into helping developing countries reduce some poverty issues. And as an intern for a Borgen project, what I did was I would write articles, fundraise. There's different tags that I'll get to in a moment. But starting with the articles that I wrote for the Borgen project, basically what I found is that like there's so many countries out there that are suffering from so many um, basic needs. Not being able to get regular food sources, dealing with impoverished homes and shelters, if you can even like call them shelters in some of situations, because a lot of families actually in these global territories are struggling just to be able to afford quality housing. And in one article that I wrote pertain to one of these countries, for example, a Samoan family actually is living in a shelter so small that they actually have to crawl in and out just to be able to um, live in the space because they can't afford anything that's higher than that. And also, I'll add that as a citation if you guys want to read more about that family's story as well. But the basic issue that we deal with, the as the Borgen Project, and me as who has served as an intern for a Borgen Project, we're trying to raise U.S. Residents' awareness about these global poverty issues. One of the activities that I engaged in actually was a fundraiser for global poverty. Basically, we're the Borgen Project needs people like you, me, and everybody else to help them raise enough funds to be able to go to, like, for example, like these congressional meetings in Washington to meet with like senators, representatives, different politicians, so who would be like key figures in being able to support foreign aid, fund the international affairs budget. There's a good number of ways that the U.S., like I said, can help reduce global poverty. And one fact about that is that a lot of people believe that at least 25% of the U.S. federal budget goes towards fighting global poverty, helping developing countries. But in reality, the number is only um, if 1% or even like less than 1%. And it's actually a very big difference compared to the common belief about what the U.S. spends on that versus what the U.S. actually does spend on that. And so one of my activities was a fundraiser for the Borgen Project to raise, however much money we can in terms of addressing global poverty issues. There's a link to my fundraiser in the description of this video, but that fundraiser actually ends tonight at 11 p.m. PST. So I recommend that you guys visit the Borgen Project's fundraising page itself to donate to them directly if you guys are interested in helping us fight global poverty and helping us help these countries gain more a better chance at being able to help them escape poverty. Because what we do as the U.S., we use foreign aid, we use U.S. AID, or also called USAID. The international affairs budget also helps out these developing countries. There's many ways that the U.S. can help these countries, but again, we just need to help our congressional leaders, for instance, understand these poverty reduction bills, get them to once enough of us have contacted our congressional leaders, they in turn see that this is an issue that we as the U.S. people deeply value, and so eventually it could even become a bill that the president would sign as well. For example, say like there's a bill proposed for helping more women and children globally escape hunger. If enough of us express our concerns to Congress about that, or our congressional leaders about that, they eventually take it up to Washington, and then Washington takes it to the president. The president signs it as a bill, and boom, the U.S. From there will make more of action plans to reduce that problem. So this is also tying into why we should need to call Congress, and actually, as I have listed in my sources right here, let me find it. You can find out who your congressional leaders are. Typically, what it is, like for example, for me, I have 2 senators, 1 representative. I'm in Tennessee, Tree 701 Tree area, and so what I do weekly is I call my congressional leaders about poverty reduction bills. I like just basically like let them know that I'm a concerned constituent of theirs who cares about these issues, want to see Washington doing more to address these issues, and that's basically like not just what I can do, but all of us can do it. And actually, the more of us who contact our congressional leaders, the more chances, or better way to put it, let's say for example, like I'm in Tennessee, me calling congressional leaders as one person, that's a good thing to do, but in the process, a congressional leader may not take more of a gander at a certain bill unless, say, like several Tennesseans call that congressional leader in terms of a specific bill or issue. Only then, when like at least 7 or more people contact that leader about like a certain bill, a certain problem that they feel that the U.S. needs to address, will their congressional leader actually decide to possibly even support the bill. And you definitely get a higher chance of that happening if you're able to mobilize enough people to call the leader in terms of like that specific bill or specific issue. And so again, you can visit the Borgen Project's link to be able to do that. Going back to fundraising, for my fundraiser, we managed to raise $520, and actually, if you guys visit on the link, you'll see, and I'll get it up right here as well. That way, we can follow along together. But basically, I had some promises that I was going to fulfill for my donors here, and so let's run down the list. If we raise $300, I post a video on YouTube of me singing a completely new song I made up without rehearsing in my room. Well, here I am in my room. $600. We didn't. My fundraiser didn't get that far, but it did get to like 520, and that's definitely $300 or higher. So before I go any further, let me just keep that promise to my donors and start singing an impromptu song. Boom, 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 boom. I can feel that the sun is shining in my ears. All hearing the sounds of chirping. When I feel this good, I got to keep on running. Gotta do something that nobody else could, and I am feeling good. Yes, I'm feeling good. Nobody can change how I feel right now. Yes, I am feeling good. Oh, yes, I'm feeling good. Nothing can stop me now. And I see the light is moving. I can't believe what my sisters and my brothers see. But I know someday I'm finding a new chance to be free, to be free, to be me. And so the sun is shining, and here I go, passing up, doing what I need to know. And I am telling you how I feel right now, hoping that you feel that way too. So I got my hands on it, clapping loud. Everybody join me and make it proud. 'Cause here I go to believing the sun is shining down on me. My sister's brothers singing, yes indeed. Sun is shining down on me, and I feel the birds chirping, feel my life, and I wonder what I'm gonna do next. I've got to make believe that I can change something for better, or change it for the worse. I know that someday I'll flock with the birds of the feathers, making myself believe in you. I said, making myself believe in you. Here I coming for you, and so I can't believe that I cannot believe that here coming true to you, as I hear here coming true to you. Can't believe that I lost and free, and now I am learning to you. Help me believe in the way to be true, and here I come to you, here I come to you, here I come to you right now. Yes, indeed, I see the birds chirping on me, and I hear my brother singing, hear my sister singing, keeping my eyes on you. Yes, indeed, I'm keeping my eyes on you. Woo. Now, just so you guys know, I mean, I just I apologize if it sounds a little similar to something else. I think that it might even, but I just thought about that on top of my head. In my opinion, an impromptu song or impromptu anything is literally something that you just like think of as soon as you say, "Here I go impromptu," you just all of a sudden just start making some sort of like random sound, and next thing you know, you're singing a new song for the first time. So again, thanks guys for to my donors who helped me raise the 520. I couldn't have done it without you. Your support is greatly appreciated. The Borgen Project greatly appreciate your support. We definitely want change to happen for developing countries to be able to have the kind of freedoms that we do here in the U.S. And when you guys donate, we definitely get much closer to that goal. So let's see what else is on my agenda here. I made a little outline for me to follow to make sure that we get all the points covered. Okay, we talked about my fundraiser, and again, if you guys want to help the Borgen Project, please do donate to their direct site that is borgenproject.org/donate. Like I said, my personal fundraiser, borgenproject.org/. Ron G. Singh Tanwar will be ending tonight by 11 p.m. PST. If you're on Central Standard Time like me, that's actually 1 a.m. this morning. But definitely feel free to donate. I'm not sure how many of you will be able to see this before 11 p.m. PST, but if you do and you do decide to donate, you can still donate to my fundraiser before that time period hits. And just so you know the name that I just said, it's like pronouncing Ron followed by the letter G, so Ron G. Last name is just like saying the word sing, like what I did just now, sing, followed by Tanwar, and that's how you pronounce my name on that. So again, my internship lasted for 12 weeks. I started with the Borgen Project back on, I want to say June 5th, if I'm remembering right, June 5th. And the day is my last day. I've definitely grown a lot with the organization. I've been exposed to a lot of poverty issues that I would have not even known about had it not been for the Borgen Project helping me realize, how my calls impact congressional leaders. I had never even heard of calling congressional leaders, but the Borgen Project exposes you to a lot of ways that you, as an average citizen, can have your voice heard in Washington for different poverty issues for these developing countries to be heard. And I mean, pretty much like if you want anything to be passed as like a law or a bill, it all starts with first an idea. I remember the Borgen Project um, explained that to me as well. It also a bill, it starts off as an idea in your head that you want something to be changed in terms of like U.S. Policy, and next thing you know, people start calling their congressional leaders in favor of something, and if enough congressional leaders get on board to support, let's say like an issue, it could become a bill. It could even make it sit up on president's office for the president to decide whether or not he'll sign it. Now, sometimes what tends to happen is even in that stage, unfortunately, the president may decide not to sign. But we definitely always keep our hopes up, and we definitely want to at least be able to get issues to that stage. And so, in terms of what I have listed for the Borgen Project here, in terms of our um, on the Borgen Project, some legislation and issues that they want congressional leaders to know about. You can visit their website in the link as well. That's listed in the video. Learn about what they want for in terms of like us contacting our congressional leaders. And again, it's not just about contacting your congressional leader. What you have to really do in order to make an impact is you have to mobilize, like say like friends, family, in order to have at least like 7 people. I say at least 7 to like even like 10. In fact, the more people, the better, because maybe like a congressional leader might, even at 7, might still say, I still think that more people should call me about this first before I consider supporting it. And so that's what we try to do. I mean, there's definitely strength in numbers. That's what we think about in terms of this. And so if you can definitely get a lot of people to help you call your congressional leaders, and even like do what I'm doing here. Even you could even like have like call them on the phone while you're making a YouTube video to show people that just how easy it is. The call literally takes some 30 seconds. In fact, let me show you guys. I got my phone right here actually, and I am going to call my 2 senators and my one representative right now. And again, that's how it pretty much works. We have like 2 senators and one representative who represents us back in D.C. I live in Tennessee, so my senators and one representative is, and let me see, just to make sure I'm getting like the names right here. My senators are Bob Corker, Senator Lamar Alexander, and Representative Jim Cooper. And before I call, usually what I try to do is I follow the Borgen Project's link to their issues that they prefer congressional leaders to hear about. It's always good to have at least like a specific issue or so to call them in favor of. That way they can turn and see what that's about specifically. I mean, you can definitely call them just, but you can even like call them though, saying like I want to see the international affairs budget increase. That's a very big thing that will help. That could continue to help a lot of global territories, fight poverty and work towards ending it. And so let's see here on the borgenproject.org/legislation page, and also this is in the video description as well. We have the international affairs budget, which I just mentioned, and again, that's definitely one that you could call them about, or you can call them about the AGOA and MCA Modernization Act. And so what this pertains to is that, and I'm quoting the Borgen Project here in terms of how they read it as well, just to make sure that you guys understand. All too often, Congress is challenged to find a solution to something that is broken. However, this bill seeks to enhance transparency and expand programs that are already helping to improve the lives of millions of people. The solution the African Growth and Opportunity Act, also known as AGOA, and the Millennial Challenge Corporation, also known as MCC, have proven to track records in spurring economic development across the world. Strengthening these programs furthers the U.S. position of international leadership, strengthens our domestic job market and economy while protecting our national security interests. Something that you'll notice under each of the legislation and issues that they have listed on the pages that, like, you can access those blue links on the page. You won't be able to see it unless you're on the page of the borgenproject.org/legislation. But there's some links to say like bill summary, read Senate version, view Senate co-sponsors. View Senate co-sponsors, you basically see what senators have already decided to sponsor, like this bill, or like this issue of poverty and so forth. And let's say, for example, you see your senator or representative listed on like the co-sponsor. Well, in that case, you would want to like call any your other senator who may not have co-sponsored the bill yet, but you don't really need to call the senator who's already co-sponsored it, because that means that enough people already called the senator in terms of the issue, and the senator decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to co-sponsor this because this seems like something that the community really cares about. But in other instances, you may find that like neither of your two senators nor your one representative has decided to like co-sponsor or support the bill. And in that case, you definitely want to call them, and you can find that out when you click on one of the links that says like read House version on the legislation page. Even read or view the Senate co-sponsors. But let's go ahead with the READ Act on this page. So I'm going to call my congressional leaders in terms of the READ Act. Alrighty. And how I usually do it is I just call like my first two senators and then my representative, but you guys, if you ever want to, can do it either way. Alrighty. Hello, I'm a supporter of the Borgen Project. That's Borgen, and I would like you to support the READ Act. Thank you and have a good evening. So basically, the reason why it took so long for me to like say something is because sometimes when you call like after hours, you might get a message that says like Senator A currently is in office for example because it's after hours now, but you can still leave a message on the recording. And they will still get that message actually, because what happens is their intern or one of their workers the following morning when they come into office reads off like the call list of the messages they received in terms of like different bills and issues that they were called about. So they definitely will still get it even after you call after hours. But you can also call like say around like 12 noon or so. I think that mostly all of their people would still like be in office to like respond to your calls. You would have to leave a message. You could actually speak to them directly. Sometimes, in my experience, what happens is like for example, they'll sometimes like ask for your name and number to like just to like um, verify like a callback number or so in case like the senator or representative wants to get in touch with you further about the issue to let you know what's going on with it. And also, it's a good idea. Also, sometimes I'll also add that your zip code as well, because that way they know that you're someone from their like area that they're working with who is also concerned about the bill or issue as well. So that is one senator, and let's go with my next senator. By the way, the senator I called just now was the senator I mentioned earlier, who is mine for Tennessee is Senator Bob Corker. Now I'm going to call my other senator, Senator Lamar Alexander, and be over to REDAC as well. Hello, my name is Ron. I'm a supporter of the Borgen Project, that's Borgen, and I would like you to support the READ Act. Thank you and have a good evening. Yep, so that's senators out of on the task list completed, and of course you call like your one representative. It says here that it passed the House actually on January 24th, 2017. So let's see exactly who co-sponsored. Okay, so we got 9 co-sponsors for the READ Act. Let's see. I go. Yeah, I'm not seeing any of my senators or representative yet, but it did pass the House still on the 24th of January. I, but again, it's always still like good to like call like your leader, see if they were like weren't on the list, just to like help them understand like that you're someone who really cares about the act or like the bill that you're trying to get passed, and that you would like them to co-sponsor as well. So I'm gonna now call my representative, Jim Cooper. Alrighty. Now I believe our representative actually in the message on the voicemail message they usually say like for me to leave my name and number just as like a courtesy. So that's what I usually do when I call Representative Jim Cooper. Hello, my name is Ron. My number is 615-720-4483. I'm a supporter of the Borgen Project, that's Borgen, and I would like you to support the READ Act. Thank you and have a good evening. And again, it's already like passed the House representatives on the 24th, but it's always good to still like contact your congressional leaders about like these different things when you see like they have like co-sponsor something. It's always nice to have like the more co-sponsors the better, because in the long run, if it gets passed to the president who will sign it as a bill, or choose not to sign it, the president might also consider like the number of people who did co-sponsor while it was still in that stage, and that could influence the decision about whether or not the president will sign as well. But you guys can definitely do this too. I mean, it's only a 30-second call. Even if you do get someone to answer after hours, it's still. Sorry about the noise. I got a couple of people who I live with currently. But anyway, you can definitely just take like a 30-second call to call your congressional leaders, call your representative or senators, tell them about your concerns for a bill. Basically, just say like, "Hi, I'm a supporter of the Borgen Project," or like if like you're just like um, not supporting the Borgen Project, or you're supporting, or if you're just like a concerned citizen about a certain bill, just say, "I would like you to support Bill X, Y, or Z." Um, Sometimes, again, like they'll ask for some contact information from you, just so, like the senator or representative can get back in touch with you in case like they got their plate full with like other task. And that's pretty much all you have to do, which is a 30-second call to one of your congressional leaders. And it's always good to actually call all three of your congressional leaders, like what I did that weekly. That way you can stay active, and it's even better when you're able to mobilize at least like 7 to 10 people to be able to help you call the same congressional leader. For example, like people who you mobilize, you would definitely want you preferably that to be like people who are in your same city, because again, like um, all it takes is like several people from a senator or representative's community, or even like 10 people from a senator or representative's community to call in terms of a bill. Senator looks at that, and then he or she may decide. There's a lot of people who are concerned about this issue. I think I'm going to go ahead and co-sponsor it, and that's all. And that's definitely an important step in helping an issue become or a bill like make it to the president. And actually, I'm using it on terms bill and on poverty and legislation interchangeably. Basically, an issue or legislation becomes a bill eventually once it has made it to, like the bill on Capitol Hill song, for instance. And actually, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have like heard that before, but that definitely can give you some information on like that as well. Like the little Bill who's on Capitol Hill singing about like um, the hard process it is to make it to the president to be signed. Because again, it starts as like an idea. It takes people like us to actively call our congressional leaders to help a bill make it that far in the first place. But again, even then, it's a slippery business because the president may or may not decide to sign. So we always have to, keep voicing our concerns as the people to make sure these issues make it to to our congressional leaders back in Washington, because our congressional leaders definitely want to hear from their community, from the people that they're representing back in DC. Because when they hear from us about different concerns, that lets them know, like, my people are on board with this. I definitely might want to consider co-sponsoring this issue and bringing it to, in terms of like meetings or so, or getting it passed. We're the ones who are motivating them to be able to do that. Um, I've talked a lot in this video. My counter is currently reading at 33 minutes and 58, 34 minutes actually now. So let me see if there's anything we haven't covered yet, because I think we're almost done at this point. We talked about global poverty issues. In terms of what's been going on, in this last week of my internship, classes just started back for me. One class that I'm taking currently focuses on the U.S.'s relations with other parts of the world. It's called, I believe, U.S. and World Affairs. I'm a student at Belmont University, by the way, in Nashville, so that's where I currently attend. But basically, what I've learned from the class so far in the past two sessions that I've attended, I'm in there, is that there's definitely a lot of turmoil going on in countries outside of the U.S. Of course, like what I learned, and I'm pretty sure maybe a good number of you probably noticed too. But this was just like kind of like a reminder for me, or kind of like a heads up. Um, when Iraq was a state before 2013, and actually there's still this same conflict going on between the different groups, but basically Kurds and Arabs don't get along, and likewise Sunnis and Shiites don't get along. Now, one group doesn't get along, Kurds and Arabs, because of ethnicity reasons. The other group, Sunnis and Shiites, don't get along because of religious reasons. And this is just like one example of like how there's definitely a lot of um, you know um, wars still going on in like the world, and conflicts with different communities, and this in turn adds to like global poverty issues, because a lot of impoverished countries have these issues of like you know different groups having these problems with each other in terms of like belief systems, or in terms of ethnicity. Here in the U.S., we try to limit these things, but in some countries, and actually I learned this in my second day of the U.S. and World Affairs class. Some countries don't have a, a global government, I believe is what on the professor called it. Basically, global government isn't literally a government who like rules the world or anything, but in the context of like a country, for example, we're the United States. Even though there's like 50 states of us, 51 states, I believe. I heard it at one time. I'll just go with like 50 states of us. Even though there's 50 states of us, we're all governed by one figure. The president, who helps keep us all like in order and maintains order. Well, in some countries, actually, there's this thing called um, actually, let me. Oh, here we go. An international system where there is no global government or government to maintain order between states. Rather, the states are the ones that govern themselves. And what tends to happen is that some states tend to have more power to um, oppress neighboring states in that situation. And that adds to a lot of turmoil, a lot of civil unrest, a lot of human rights violations that go on in these different countries that unfortunately still don't share in some of the advantages of the U.S. Where the U.S., for instance, we do have a central government. We have a constitution that helps to protect our rights. A lot of these outside territories don't have even like the resources of food, let alone like human rights, privileges. And so like again, like when we speak of like global poverty, I know I've mentioned this a lot in the video, but what I haven't mentioned is like exactly like what the full scope and definition of global poverty is. It's not just about being too poor to afford something. It's definitely like um, global poverty, like the essence of poverty in general, being impoverished in human rights, being impoverished, insecurity. A lot of these global countries don't have the same kind of security as the U.S. Um, and this is another reason why we try to bring global issues to, the U.S.'s ears for them to be able to hear what's going on. And they definitely know what's going on. It's just that the U.S. Is often spending a lot more of its federal budget on other things like military, weaponry, other programs, but foreign aid is again only accounts for like 1% of the federal budget of the U.S. And so this is why a lot of countries are still um, underdeveloped. Some have risen to developed status instead of underdeveloped status, but even so, they still need our help to be able to gain more resources and security like we have here in the U.S. And this is basically like again, like what the Borgen Project has taught me is that we need to be actively raising awareness about these concerns. Um, let's see what else have I touched on yet. Just give me one sec. So yeah, we talked about the common misconception of the 25% of the federal budget going towards foreign aid, when in reality it's actually less than 1%. We talked about calling Congress, and definitely call your congressional leaders. Um, you can also I'd recommend doing it through the Borgen Project's link. It's very simple. It literally takes only like under maybe like 20 seconds to enter your zip code, find your congressional leaders. If 20 seconds, maybe for 10 seconds, depending on your Wi-Fi connection. Sometimes my Wi-Fi is very freaky, and so it probably would take like a minute, depending on how slow my internet loads. But it's definitely a simple process, and definitely do consider donating to the Borgen Project, because again, the Borgen Project is working very hard to address global poverty issues. We have seen some a lot of progress made in developing countries from um, uh, being able to receive more funding. Funding definitely helps these countries achieve better quality of lives. Typically, what happens is that when we're asked to donate, we suddenly get on the offensive, and we wonder, well, wait, what am I donating to? What, what you're donating to, and what you're definitely helping the Borgen Project do is, when you address global poverty, when you help to reduce global poverty through whatever donation you make, and it's definitely not up to you to say like donate like, okay, maybe it's okay, so what this guy is telling me is to donate $1 million. No, that's not at all what I'm saying. What's what's ideal is that you mobilize other people to say like, let's say that if everybody in the war in the U.S. decided to donate $5 to the Borgen Project, and like based on like the U.S. population, that would I mean, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but that would definitely be a lot of funding going towards the Borgen Project and helping them to fund foreign aid programs that can in turn better provide for these global communities. Because what we definitely want to happen is for global territories to be able to buy U.S. products. When we financially help these countries, and they can be able to buy from the U.S. and purchase our goods, that brings more business and commerce to the U.S., and in turn, that creates more jobs for U.S. citizens like you and me. And so this is why um, um, donating and like helping global poverty issues, helping these global countries achieve better lives, it's not an expense, but rather it's actually an investment on our part, because we're in turn bringing more job opportunities to U.S. citizens when people overseas have the financial means to be able to buy from us. But as it stands, a lot of these countries, a lot of people in these countries don't have the financial means to even like buy their own products, let alone like ours. Again, there's a lot of corruption going on around in the world, and yes, of course, you're probably like saying, well, the U.S. has these problems too, but these aren't competing interests. When we help these overseas territories, we are essentially proving that, like, the U.S. is definitely a global leader in reducing poverty issues. We're proving that we actually care about other people livelihood, because that's what the U.S. is supposed to be. We're supposed to all be united of all different races, and I think that one of the best ways to prove that is just to like constantly help each other and constantly help outside overseas territories, to show that we really do care about their livelihood. What tends to happen in a lot of these developing territories and underdeveloped territories is when people don't have the financial means to support themselves, they often do adverse things and go into adverse activities such as a lot of like terrorism, for instance, that goes on around the world is bred from poverty issues. When people are too poor to be able to support themselves, they do whatever they can to support themselves, and that's sadly a reality that many overseas countries and territories find that happens with their people as global poverty continues to rise. What we definitely like to see in the Borgen Project is global poverty decrease, and we definitely have to see the U.S. working towards ending global poverty. That's always the best thing. When we call congressional leaders, when we donate, we're doing whatever we can to help overseas countries and overseas people because we want them to be able to live the same kind of safe, secure, and provided for lives that a lot of us here in the U.S. are able to. And so I think that's pretty much it. We're at 45 minutes, but definitely do consider what I talked about. Definitely consider donating to the Borgen Project to help them work towards ending global poverty and fighting for impoverished communities. Definitely call your congressional leaders. That's always a plus. Make sure that we can eventually get some of these bills to the president's office so that he can sign. And of course, again, the president might not always decide to sign, but it's still always good to try. The trying part is what we definitely appreciate. Again, make sure to donate if you'd like to help, because your donation will be going towards the better good for a lot of these outside territories. And if there's nothing else left on my list, I think we're pretty much, yeah. And again, I'll have actually, I promised some of you guys also the link to Bill on Capitol Hill videos. Let me just look that up real quick. Good thing I didn't forget, because that would be very terrible if I sorry about that. I got to off. Yeah, I promised you guys the Bill on Capitol Hill video, and then you guys look through my the description, you're saying, "Hey, where's the Bill on Capitol Hill video? I wanted to see that." But yeah, it's definitely more than a cartoon. It describes actually how this works and why calling congressional leaders is definitely an important process for us to take on. Okay, let me see if I can get this link to it copied correctly. Let's see. Right click. Dang. One sec. Okay, let's try this again. Ready? Yeah. And make sure that I spelled it right. CAPI. Alright. So I think it's all just make sure that I got the right spelling and everything. Awesome. Alrighty, I think that's pretty much signing off at this point. And thank you guys again so much for taking the time to listen. I know that it was very, very long, but yeah, basically just remember to visit the Borgen Project's website in the link to donate if it passes after 11 p.m. PST. If you decide to donate before 11 p.m. PST, definitely feel free to visit my fundraising page and donate a little something if you'd like to help in these global poverty issues. Definitely call your congressional leaders, of course. Definitely visit the Borgen Project link to call to learn how to call Congress and what exactly to say to Congress. And I wish you guys good luck in the fight against global poverty with me.